I know you're involved with the tariff debate
Oh, yeah.
because, that works both ways. Sometimes free trade does hurt people.
Yep.
And that's why there are tariff. Trump is not the first person to advocate tariffs. He's just the first person to do it in this kind of crazy, haphazard way.
Right, I agree. And I think that, when he announced selective tariffs, I was like, all right, let's go. Then when he announced universal tariffs, I was like, I don't know if that makes sense. What is he doing? And I'm not in. I think one of the problems that we've seen over the past several years with Trump is the immediate assumption that he's a crazy person all the time. And so the only thing I can say is, well, look, I vote for the guy. I think this is probably doesn't make sense to me, but I'll see what happens and we'll see if it makes sense. Selective tariffs, I think, do make sense. But I do think that the way the Democratic Party has handled opposition has guaranteed the kind of Trumpian politics.
Well, I'm sure you heard about my little trip to the White House.
Absolutely.
And
very impressive.
Thank you. And the thing that upset the far left so much, these same people who believe in the crazy things I was just mentioning, and the ones who really hate me, they really found a new reason to hate me because when I came back and gave my report about it, among the things I said, to your point about everything is he crazy, was, I think, word for word, a crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV lives in the White House.
Yeah.
And they found that very triggering. But again, as I said many times during that piece, I'm just going to tell you the truth. I didn't vote for him. I think we all know that. I went right back to being as tough on him as I ever had been. So I wasn't seduced, but that was my estimation. Again, to your point about, is he just crazy? When you meet him in person and spend that kind of time and he's not on his his attack mode thing, he does not strike you as a crazy person or a person who doesn't listen or can't hear things. Again, they were very mad at me for saying this, but that's what happened. And I am not a liar. That's my main bond with the audience. So even if I offended some people by telling the truth, in the long run, that's what I do. And they, yeah.
What I saw in 2020, I was not going to vote for Trump. I'll never vote for Trump. I don't like Trump. And I donated the max to Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. And my position, my whole thought process was the Democrats are going crazy and we need the moderate, sane Democrats to maintain control of this party and stop the insanity.
Correct.
And they lost.
And
so then Trump put out his statement in around August saying, we're going to ban DEI in government contracting. We're going to do these things, blah, blah, blah. No new wars was big for me. I'm a very, anti-interventionist for a lot of reasons. And so I said, I guess I'm voting for Trump. Instantly, it was like the liberals, even YouTube, they all said, we're going to move your name over to this list. I kid you not. There's representatives at YouTube. They told me straight up that the liberal rep was no longer representing me and they were switching me to a conservative rep. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not that I like who Trump is or that I'm like thinking that conservatives have a good policy. I'm pro-choice. The issue is that you can look at it right now. There's no charismatic leaders. There's no front runners. There's no policy position. It seems like the only thing they have is the right is bad, Trump is bad. And so I'm asking, what are our plans?
No, they have Democrats have policy positions on everything, and many of them are, I think, preferable to Republican policy positions. Number one being they concede elections. That's kind of a big one with me. They listen to what courts say.
I don't know about that.
You don't think they listen to what courts say? I mean,
So Joe Biden,
that's
ignored the court rulings twice on forgiving student loans, and then tried to decree the Equal Rights Amendment.
That's true.
But I'm not saying to defend Trump. I'm just saying
there are arguments. Of course, the Republicans, that just works for them because there are issues like what you mentioned, which is not untrue, where it's so easy for them to go, well, they did this, so we're going to do it 5 times worse. And then they do. But there are some like that. But there's one that has no fuzz on it, and that's elections. When Democrats lose elections, It's over the next day. Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton,
not Hillary Clinton,
just
not Al Gore.
Well, Al Gore was not Al Gore doing that. That election was obviously decided by 537 votes. There was an absolute, when it's that close, there should be a recount. And whether that recount went the right way, we'll never know, because that state was run by Catherine Harris and Jeb Bush.
There's a real, sorry to interrupt, but there's a really good, I guess, I don't know if you call it a philosophical point that I've noticed that I think you're experiencing right now is I'm 39. So you lived through a lot of these administrations and these political cycles.
Yeah.
And you have experiences that I don't even know they exist.
Yeah, but you know what? I didn't live through Lincoln, but I know about it.
Sure. My point is, my experience in politics has been the Democrats have challenged more than Republicans. To be fair,
Trump's challenged the court?
Challenged the elections more than the Republicans have, in extreme ways.
That's ridiculous.
So, but perhaps because you're older than me and you've seen more than I have.
Again, there are history books, there's newspapers.
I know.
You don't know something only because you lived through it. I know about the French Revolution also.
My point is,
I mean, you could know about this.
Indeed.
I mean, this is something that people your age say all the time, and I've made fun of it before. Like, it's this, like, if I wasn't alive for it, it didn't happen. I don't have to know about it.
But that's not what I'm
saying. Okay, but
I'm saying that in 2016, I didn't vote for either Trump or Hillary, and then I got 3 years of Trump as working for the Russians.
He was not working for the Russians.
Jonathan Chait went on MSNBC and said he may have been a Soviet asset since the 80s.
Well,
and so for me, I'm like, I'm out. This is crazy. And so, like, understand, and I'm not saying you're wrong about history. I'm saying that experiencing a political cycle over years is different from reading the condensed history books, which of course I do. So to live through 4 years of a president, their term, every single moment, the history books gloss over most of those experiences that we don't have as young people. So I have people on my show who are 25, and one of the people who works for us says nothing ever happens. She's 24. And this is like a Gen Z thing. Nothing ever happens. And I said, are you kidding? The past 10 years have been nothing but happenings.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. When she was 14, she wasn't paying attention to politics. When she was around 20 years old and started, this was the natural state of politics in her experience. So this is basic. This is normal. And for me, it's crazy. And I think for you, it's crazy. But they grew up in this and they've normalized it. So my view is this. Not to say that you're wrong, obviously. My point is, when I watched the Democrats accuse Trump and Manafort and Carter Page and all of these things, especially when they fabricated evidence against Carter Page, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe the Democrats are going to this length to deny an election.
You're watching a little too much Fox News or somebody who's slanting this a certain way. I mean, Paul Manafort was sharing polling information with a GRU agent.
And do you know how they found out about that?
How did they find out about that?
Ukrainian government officials shared it with the Democratic Party. So? Politico reported that. So you have this Ukrainian interference in our election as reported by Politico. And I look at that and I go, wow, the Ukrainian government sent incriminating evidence to the Democrats? Crazy story. Then they claimed
But it was true.
And indeed. And the issue is, why wasn't that a scandal?